Hello, this is Rich Lavens of Eurotherm by Watlow, and I get this question quite often, and the question is, I'm trying to control a process one day at, for example, maybe 300 degrees, and I'll set up the auto tuning and it works great. But then the next day, I'm trying to control this same oven at maybe 600 degrees, and now the PID settings don't work, so I have to re-auto tune. Is there a way that I can control different processes without having to re-auto tune? And the short answer is yes. There's a feature within the Eurotherm instruments. This one happens to be an EPC 3000 series, but this parameter is called gain scheduling. So we have our page key, our enter key, and down and up arrows make parameter changes. So we're going to take this page key and we're just going to push it down and we're going to hold it there. Keep holding it. When we see level 3, we are going to up arrow and we're going to go into config. Enter. The code here is 0, 0, 0, and then the number 4. So we're going to look for the loop parameter. So we're going to hit the page key, toggle it. Just keep hitting it until we get to loop, and we're going to hit enter. And within the enter, by hitting up and down, you have different selections. So configuration, set point, feed forward, but we want to go to the PID setting. Hit enter again, and here's that gain scheduling. So gain scheduling allows you to have multiple PID sets, and you can select them based on condition. So we can turn this off. We're just going to put it to set point. I think the next part that I'll show you will be in iTools. It just does a little bit better job of explaining it. You're welcome to go through the front keypad, but let's pick this back up. I'll jump onto iTools on my PC. Alrighty, so we are back here at my PC with Eurotherm iTools pulled up. I'm communicating live with that same EPC 3000 series controller. So up here, first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into access. Access, you can call it configuration, engineering level, again, different terms for the same thing. When I click on this, we're going to go into that, what I call engineering level. It's going to ask me for my password. So your password is unique, and on the initial power up of the instrument, it will have prompted you to generate a passcode. Don't forget that. It's the only way you can log into engineering mode. If you happen to have forgotten it, there's a whole nother video on how to reset that. Anyway, the other caution here is when you're in access mode, as a safety, the controller's outputs are disabled, so we no longer control the process. So the scenario being, I've got a process that is at 300 degrees one day, and a couple days later, I want to use that same furnace, oven, vessel at 600 degrees. So if I get it tuned so it controls at 300 degrees, and it doesn't control so well at 600. It takes a different amount of kW or BTU to control at that different set point. So here's the solution. I'm going to double click in this loop block on the gray header. So double click on the gray header. Across the top, you see various tabs, but we want to go to the PID tab. By default, you'll notice I have one set of tuning constants being proportional, integral, derivative, and cutback. So again, I can auto-tune this for 300 degrees. It will work great until I go to 600 degrees. So how do I accomplish good tuning throughout a range? Well, the answer is gain scheduling. So if I right-click on this cell here, right-click, you can get a help menu, and it's going to tell you a little bit about gain scheduling. That's just more for your information, but let's say this is based off of the process value or set point. So we'll go to set point in this case, and you can see that I have the number of tune sets now pops up. So Depending on the instrument, um, you may have 2 tune sets or 3 or all the way up to 8. So again, we have the same settings in a lot of Eurotherm instruments. So Nanodac, 3500 series, obviously the EPC, but again, different number of tune sets available for different instruments. So the line here, let me expand this for everyone. So this is the switching point between set 1 and set 2. So on that 300 degrees, what I can do is, let's make that 300. So at 300 degrees or less, it's going to use the first PID tune set. So if you auto tune at 300 degrees or less, it will go ahead and calculate the first tune set. If I'm at 301 or above, it is smart enough to go ahead and auto tune. It will grab the second tune set. So now you can have good control at 300 and you can have good control at 600. So really, if I put in, I don't know what this one has, 3. So there's 3. So now I could have a 300 degree range and maybe a 450 degree range. So now 300 and below, tune set 1. Between 300 and 450, tune set 2. 450 degrees or above, tune set 3. And again, when you auto tune at the various temperatures, it is smart enough to go in and fill in the right range. It's really slick, and it solves a lot of problems, alleviates a lot of headaches, and it just works really well. That is really it. There's different ways to pick these tune sets. So this is set point, but we can do process value or percent output. We can look at the deviation between the process and the set point. We can set it with digital inputs. So there's different ways to select this. I think the set point is probably the most common I run across. So anyway, when we're done with that, remember, come up here and get out of your access mode. That will cause your controller to reset or reboot if you're live with the controller anyway. And once that is done, then you can go in, put in a set point of 300, hit the auto tune, it'll fill that in. Go in and set a set point of 400, it'll fill in the second set with auto tune, and I get 450 or above auto tune, it'll fill in the last set. I hope you find this helpful. If you do have any questions, please drop us an email or give us a call. Thanks for your time. Bye.